we recording already? I'm sending an email to my parents. What are you doing? Okay. Welcome to I miss Paddy. I need me some Patrick Ivers right about now. So welcome to Impersonal Training Poodcast number 12. As beautifully displayed by Mr. Will Heffernan, always on top. Will always on top Heffernan. I'm just glad somebody wants to be on top of me. It's just all I can get. So a couple of things to start. So first of all, we have a new referral program, which, Will may be surprised to learn about this, but if you refer us to another friend, congratulations, that means you have a friend, which is more than a lot of us can actually say. So, hey man, tough times, guys. The other thing, I don't know if we said this offline, but so Will had mentioned that there's these like Canadian, they're in Ontario, the Toronto, whatever, officials that had told everybody else to not travel and then traveled. So one of the reasons they got caught is because they had pre-recorded all of these videos of them, like for each day. But the guy literally wore the same clothing. he just filmed them consecutively. Like, he wasn't even smart enough to go change the clothing. So I'm not either. I mean, these are
neither
clearly,
are we. We're not smart enough.
But we're also not lying about it. So
I thought you were going to say we're asking you not to train, and that we were going to actually train ourselves. I'm so glad you didn't go down that pathway.
No, actually, if you
we
never
want you
lie,
to train, so we don't have to.
We aren't happy until you're not happy. But if you never lie, you never have to remember what you said. Hey, I mean, true story, right?
True story.
I mean, I've put stuff on resumes before, and then I've been asked about it in an interview, and I'm like, well, I don't actually specifically remember that, but I guarantee you, if it's on the resume, it's true. And I wouldn't make that up, and I didn't get that job either. So I mean, like,
on that note, I've had somebody apply for a job on which I was sitting as a panel, and they submitted my resume. So what they had done is they had got my previous application for a role that I was promoted into, that had been shared amongst people, but this numbskull changed the name on the application, but didn't change the name on the other document and submitted it. So he had submitted his application, which was my application, just with his name on the top, and also submitted my resume.
Did you hire him?
No. But I did interview him because I wanted to hear what he had to say.
How did that go?
It was hilarious.
Just as expected.
Yes. It was. It did amuse me greatly.
Okay, so we've talked about a lot in the last 4 hours, which would be like 2 podcasts ago. So we talked about in the intro to Welcome to 2021, the shit show, whatever, some things that we want to do more of, and we've got to get better at folding in, the trash talk, because that's really how we got started, and that's really what we're good at, and that's really what the industry needs more of. So
Yes.
We need to start, tearing things apart and picking out the garbage and having fun with
Nobody
it.
ever got anywhere being positive.
120%. Okay, so we're gonna just do a quick follow up on the last podcast, which is on trunk training, core training, whatever you want to call it. And then we're going to get into what I'm doing right now because I went ahead and typed it out. And then we'll have Will put some actual core training into my
I want to have a look at it, and we'll see where I think core training will fit in.
I'm going to share a screen. I forget how this actually works on. How this actually works on here? Let's see. So first of all, what we were talking about towards the end of the last podcast is these kind of hybrid core movements that do a lot of things. And so we talked about Turkish get up. So if you don't know what Turkish get up is, just Google it. But long story short, you start on the ground, holding a barbell or kettlebell or a bar, or as freaking ridiculous as you want to get with it. And then you stand up. Does it require core strength? Clearly. It also requires a lot of other things. And it's super, like, it's overly complicated for the way we train things. And we try to break things down to the simplest component, train that component, and then incorporate the body and the movements together. So the second thing I asked about was the Turkish get up. And so Turkish get up to me is, I like the movement. I don't really do them anymore. For a while, I loved them. But on the screen here, we can see, the three planes of the body. So, we talk about training, things, rotationally and, like sit-ups and planks. And then we talk about like the lateral, the side bends and whatnot, and side planks. The windmill works all three of these planes. So like Will said earlier, if you're doing multiple things together, then what you're probably, there's going to be a constraint in there, a limiting factor, and you're not going to be probably effective at, you're not going to be training anything that well. That being said, the windmill is a pretty nice movement for, are you put together well enough? Are you strong enough and functional enough, to do this movement, to pick something up off the ground that way? It's kind of a fun movement to learn. There's a technical component to it. I like it.
Not too technical.
What's that?
Oh, just saying it's not too technical.
No, but you can do it wrong.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, the key with a lot of these movements is you got to keep the load's got to be as close to your body as possible, which means that there's quite a bit of maneuvering and manipulating of your whole trunk and your whole body, as depending on where the load is. And that's the same whether it's a snatch or a squat or a bench or whatever it is, right?
And
go ahead.
I was just going to say, one of the reasons I get people to video themselves training is because when I see them training, I can see where the weakness is, what the weak link in the chain is. So whether it's Gus and his push-ups and his lack of scap stability and his lack of core strength, or you do a windmill and I'll see whether it's a shoulder, it's a shoulder restriction that's holding you back, or it's something through your thoracic spine where you're not moving quite right. So, or tightness through your hips, or watching people exercise is quite a good tool for analysis, and it's a good reason to video yourself rather than putting it on Instagram. It's a good reason to video yourself and to see your progress over time doing different movements, because you'll be able to see how you've improved or how you've resolved those weaknesses or issues or injuries.
Yeah, good point. So video yourself and send it to us so we can not make fun of you. But like I said, that you can do the windmill wrong. The heavier the loading is, which is the same case with almost any exercise, the harder it is to do it wrong. Like, it's easy to do a squat wrong with 135 pounds. It's really difficult to do a squat wrong, with 405 pounds.
Yes.
It still happens, right? For guys that are super jacked and strong, like, you can still do it like less wrong. You can turn it into a good morning or whatever. But as loading increases, the technical component has to improve, or else you're literally going to fail or fall over, or something's going to happen. So, with a windmill, if you're doing it with a pood, whatever, get to 2 poods, get up there, get your pood level. It's
you saying that makes me want to take this bottle and smash myself over the head with it, because it's the only really good thing you've ever said that isn't something that I had just said previously.
The only thing?
The only thing. The heavier it is, the harder it is to do it badly. I'm going to pretend that that's something that I've said at some stage in the past.
I'll just pretend I stole it from somebody else.
Yes.
I probably did, and I don't remember.
No, that's very good. When you said it, I heard the truth in it, but I hadn't actually thought about that before. That was very good. Please continue. If you can say something equally intelligent and important in every pood, I'll be very grateful. But I find it very hard to believe that you have another one.
Don't count on it.
You have another one in you. That's good. We should probably stop now. That's the best thing you've ever said. Keep going.
We're not. We're going to pop up what I'm doing right now. So we mentioned this. Was it the last Poodcast we mentioned? So you can see this, right?
No, I'm still seeing the planes of the body.
Okay. Oh, you're still seeing the planes of the body. Okay.
I want to see your program.
Yeah,
I'm still in shock at. Oh, I can see you moving the cursor.
Okay.
Oh, there we go.
Okay. So I set this up real quick. I'm using my hands, which isn't the right way. So day 1 is here. Day 2, day 3. I want to point out, it doesn't matter if this is Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Monday, Friday, Wednesday a week later. It just, like, it's day 1, 2, 3. You just stick with it. You keep going through it to a point, right? That's the advantage of full body training, is like, it doesn't. If you fall off track, if you have a bad week, you drink too much, you get sick, whatever, you just pick up where you left off.
Keep going.
So mobility and stability. These are the things that these are my staples: band dislocates, band pull aparts, scat pull ups, scat push ups, doorway squats. I actually do these in a squat rack or just something. And there's a lot of sitting in the bottom to really try to open up my hips and also stretch out my lower back. And then I do a windmill stretch, which is essentially, and there's no weight, and it stretches your hamstring. It stretches when you're tight. When you're a guy and you're tight, it stretches everything. And typically at the end of this, I do some kind of like, a few reps of like walking hamstring stretch.
Yep.
And then I usually do some foam rolling of my hips, my upper back. I've got like one of those really spiky, foam rollers that looks painful.
Yeah.
They're great. So I just do one set of every one of these things. I don't necessarily do them in this order. It doesn't matter. I just do them in whichever order feels right. Like as a matter of fact, I probably never done them in this order. It doesn't matter. And I do 20 to 30 of these things. So when I used to do like 3 sets of 15, then I'm like, okay, 2 sets of 15. And like this is just to get you warmed up so you don't hurt yourself. That's the point of this stuff, right? Get all your everything mobilized and your muscles basically activated. So I find now I generally do, it's 20 to 25 reps, usually what I'm doing. Sometimes I do more. That's the same. That is every day I train. That's what I do. Sometimes I foam roll, sometimes I don't, but I always do these things. Sometimes I also do other things like step overs, whatever you call them. What do we call that? You put the bar in the rack and you just, just back and forth, step over it. I also do, generally we recommend static stretching post training. I do static stretching for my hip flexors before training. 30 seconds aside, that's it. Like, and the reason I've gotten to this is I've like one set is all I can tolerate, but I know I need it. And it's also been pretty effective at keeping me out of trouble. So the new thing I'm doing every time, it's the same little twist on the third day. It's a 15-minute work block, push-ups, inverted rows, and lunges. It's either reverse lunges or walking lunges. I just alternate them every time. If you do 2 in a row, doesn't matter. If you want to do a lateral lunge in there or some sort of crossover lunge, that's fine. And it's a 15-minute block, so it turns out to be 3 sets. It's 15 to 20 push-ups, 10 to 12 inverted rows, 10 to 12 inverted rows. And it's usually 30 lunges. Sometimes I'll 34, 36, depends on how I feel. The baseline for all of these things is 3 by 15, 3 by 10, and 3 by 30. If I just go do that, that's fine. And you look at it. This is a 3-day template. I'm generally doing Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So I'm doing 6, and then I'm usually doing 5 sets on the third day. So I'm doing 11 sets of push-ups, 11 sets of inverted rows, 11 sets of lunges. That right there is a better training session than 90% of the people in the gym are doing. Doing that.
And it's the power of prime.
It is, yeah. Good point. Maybe the reps aren't, but in general it is, right? They got 3 3s and 11s. That's good stuff.
Yes.
So I actually do know how to type. First day I'm doing a low incline alternate dumbbell bench. So that's one goes up, other one goes up, and then the other one, it's like this. So one's always up and one's always down. I just do that because I need the extra focus on the stability in my shoulders and upper back. And then I do a kettlebell RDL with a shrug at the top just for will. And then I do a lat pull down with bands. Day 2 is a push press. Sometimes it's a strict military. A lot of this depends on how my shoulders feel, my forearms, how my sleep was, how much caffeine I had, how many carbs I ate, just generally what I feel like, how cold is it in the garage or how hot is it in the garage. And then I do hip thrusts, and then I do rows. It's usually kettlebells, just one arm, left alternating, one side at a time, unilateral stuff. All three of these are they're 15-minute work blocks, generally 5 minutes rest in between. Sometimes I pair these together and smash them into 25 minutes or something like that. Doesn't matter as long as I'm getting 3 to 5 work sets in there. And then at the end of those days, I often, not always, but often do core work. So, as much as we tell you guys you should do core work first, we are human beings and we are hypocrites. So we don't always do that. I typically do. Sometimes I'll just slide this up here and put it, just I'll decide I want to do it now or I want to do it here. It doesn't matter, guys. It doesn't matter. These things don't have to be done in this order. I do them in this order because my shoulders are susceptible. And so I do my pressing work first before they're fatigued, while they're fresh. And then I can get on with other stuff. So you can see it's always pressing. Currently for me, pressing, lower body pulling, pressing, lower body pulling. I mean, here it's pressing, pulling, lower body. And then anyway, on to the third day, it's the same work block, except it's either 5 or 6. I said 3 to 6. If I don't feel good, I'll just do 15 minutes. But if I do feel good, today I did 30 minutes. So I did 6 sets. I did 6 sets of 15, 6 sets of 10, 6 sets of 30. And then I did some delt raises. I did 4 sets of delt raises, 4 sets of band tricep work. I did 3 sets of planks. And actually today I did that. And these 3 were all together in a block. And then I did this at the end.
Yeah.
And guys, it doesn't matter. You move it around, you put it where you need it. I for a long time, I did mobility and stability work first, and then I did all my core work, and then I did my training. And I did planks at the beginning of every session for like 2 years. And so that's what I'm doing now. I've been doing it for like a month. If you go back and look what I was doing 2 months ago, it was all the same stuff. It was just in a little bit different of an order. Like I said, today I did planks. The primary movements I do are planks. I do a hanging like leg raise, and I do plate rotations. I would love to have a back raise. I don't have one. So here are generally, I do side planks probably once a month. I do with all the lunges I'm doing. I don't really think I need that much, rotational work. I do like the plate rotations quite a lot. So this is just a flexion dynamic movement, static movement. With all the push-ups I'm doing, I probably don't need to do planks either. But when I'm doing my planks, I'm really focusing on that, the glutes and the, shifting those, rotating those hips and, keeping that thing in balance. So, this is 10 minutes. There's 15 plus your 5 minutes. This is an hour and a half to do all this. 3 times a week. That's what I'm doing. So William.
Yes.
Now that, so before William, so this is kind of, if we send you something, this is what it's going to look like. And, or, roughly. We will put things in an order for you for a reason. If you don't want to do them in that order, you're probably wrong, but you should ask us if there's a reason, if you want to do them in a different order for some reason. I mean, like with Gus, it has nothing to do with intelligence. It just has to do with experience. And we do things for a reason. So if you want to change things, we're not against it, but I mean, you need to have a pretty good reason.
Yeah, sometimes I'll let people do it just to see them fail, just so I can say, I told you.
Yeah. Right.
Just because that amuses me. But the thing is, and this is the thing about programming, and I always bring this up. So all these exercises, these are just the ingredients to recipe. So what you're seeing here is a list of ingredients. The way that Dan's put them together, that's a recipe. But being able to combine them properly and make it work, that's the difference between you being somebody cooking at home and a chef. And the thing is that over time and through experience, I've just had more experience putting all these ingredients together and making it work. So if a chef tells you something about what you're doing with regards to cooking, you should listen. And it's the same reason you should listen to us. Not because we're better than you, not because it's not even that we're smarter than you. Just with regards to programming, we've had more experience. So when I look at this, like I said, there's not too much I've changed. So when we're talking about those core exercises, trunk exercises, ab exercises, you'll see with the IP template, I would have them in between the full body workout and the low incline dumbbell bench, and I'd have something else different between the low incline bench and the lat pull downs, or whatever way. I stick them in the middle only because I'm not prioritizing them. I'm making them. I think they're important enough to do. But I'm doing them as active recovery between sets. If you're motivated enough to do them at the end of your workout, just do it that way. A lot of people aren't. A lot of people get to the end and just don't do it. So if Dan's motivated enough to get through his workout and do it at the end, all well and good. If he wasn't, I'd chuck it in at the start or chuck it in there between exercises to make sure that they get done. One of the reasons I leave bicep work and tricep work to the end is because for me, it's not important. But if it's important to you, you'll still do it at the end. And if it's not important to you, like it's not important to me, you won't do it at all. And I couldn't care less. So with the ab work, I put it in the middle, put it in, integrated into the workout because I want you to do it because it is important to me. But it's not so important that I'm sort of putting it at the start of the workout. I'm just sort of sliding it in as active recovery, something you can get done. It's not a huge high priority, but I still want you to do it. But if you're motivated enough to do it at the end, then do it at the end. But other than that, it's a good balanced program. And like Dan said, you're doing enough unilateral lower body work that I don't think you need any specific rotational work, but you're doing some anyway with the plate rotations. Other than that, it looks pretty good. And at the moment, what you're doing is for maintenance. The core work you're doing is for maintenance. Hold everything together. So the fact that you can do your planks, you can make them harder by making them harder yourself. You don't need to load them. Doing some side planks, doing some hanging leg raises, you're getting some good linear dynamic work. It's a good balanced program.
So one thing I want to point out is I do my pressing work first for, like I said, for a reason, because my shoulders I've separated both of them. AC joints are both separated. Once they're separated, there's no amount of vitamin C or anything you can take to like pull that back together. It would take surgery.
Back together.
Yes. There's an inherent instability issue. So I do my pressing first. Most people, and I've always been better at pulling anyway. I'm a better rower. I've got a stronger back. So I do my pressing first. For most people, I'm probably going to put the pulling first, the lower body work second. If I was just rotating the movements in this session or in this template, and then I put the pressing last. And so your shoulders are involved anytime you're pulling or pressing. Your shoulders are involved, right? So this is the reason I don't really like to do pressing and pulling with any loading consecutively or even paired together. So for example, if you're doing a heavy pressing movement, the next movement, if it's going to be a pulling movement next, it needs to be light. If you're pairing them together, I'm not a really big fan of it. I mean, again, here, I mean, it
needs to be light and not to failure.
Again. I mean, I can probably, if I was going to failure, this would be 3 sets of, 20 plus push-ups and 2 sets of inverted rows that were 14, 12, and a torn bicep.
Yes.
So, well, I mean,
that's a program that some people write.
It is. It is. So, this is the range. I mean, I like to write ranges to give people some, to give some people some autonomy, some flexibility about what they're doing. They think they have control of their programs.
Yeah, because some days you feel better and some days you feel worse.
Exactly. And so some days you do 3 sets, and some days you do 3 sets of 3, and some days you do 5 sets of 5, and some days you do 4 sets of 4. You know, it just doesn't. At the end of the year, all that work is cumulative. It all matters, right? But each session individually matters. It matters more that you did it than what you did when you did it.
Yes. Matters more that you showed up.
Yeah, I mean, this is a Dan Johns. Like sometimes it's got to punch the what does he call punch the clock, right? So just sometimes you got to show up and put in some reps. I mean, I don't know, guys. I've Will and I, we've both been doing this stuff for a while. It's unlikely that I would go in and just do the mobility and stability work and do the push-ups, inverted rows, and lunges. But if I did, that's still a good day. I mean, if you just did this, you'd be more fit than 90% of the people in the gym. It's a lot of work, and it's clearly more work for somebody that weighs 270 pounds and for somebody that weighs 150 pounds. But it's good. You're balanced. You're fit. You're healthy. You can do things, right? Like we talked about earlier, there's no pull-ups in my training right now. I'm not going to do them until my bicep feels better. It's just not worth the risk.
But you still have vertical pulling in there, so you still got the band lat pull downs.
Yeah.
Got
speaking
vertical
of
pulling, horizontal pushing. You got horizontal pushing and horizontal pulling. Nice balanced upper body program.
Lower body. So this is a hip hinge. This is a glute hamstring. This is almost hip thrusts. I made fun of what's his name for a while for these things. I really like them. They work a hamstring to some extent, but mostly your glutes. So I don't have a quad dominant movement in here, and you don't actually need one.
No, because you're doing enough lunges anyway.
Yeah, tons of lunges. If you didn't have any lunges, then you might need some quad work, but I need to work on my back end, so that's what I'm doing. I almost squatted today. I almost did a few sets of squats, but I got wise there and tired, and then wise, and so I didn't do any. All right, so I'm gonna stop this screen. I think that's enough. We'll do more of this.
Yeah, we'll go through Gus's program tomorrow.
Yeah, but I want to show you guys a couple things. So first of all, we're clearly not affiliated with anybody. This stuff sold on from freaking Amazon for like $20 for a set, and a set has five of these. They're like tube bands. So I think they're 3 feet long, and they go from, they're up to 50 pounds. So they're like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds. We actually have 4 sets of these. So if they have 2 sides, so 2 sets per side, and I've doubled these up. So I've got the 250s and the 240s and a 30 on there. And that's what I did. I just clamped this on to the power rack and took my adjustable bench out and did a seated row with them. I do the same thing with my lat pull downs, where I just incline the bench and face it. And they've got these handles. So Mike's using these. He seems to like them quite a bit. I think for the money, pretty fantastic. They're mobile. You throw these things if you're traveling, they're probably pretty good. And then the other things that we've always been fans of are Iron Woody bands. So Iron Woody Fitness. These Lee and I just got these. They came in yesterday. So these are the 20-inch bands, and You can do all kinds of stuff with these. I'm using them. I did them today. I used them today for tricep work. And then these are longer ones. They're technically 41 inches. And, you can use these for squats, for benches, tricep work, rowing, whatever you want to use them. They're just, I don't know. They're almost, if you only had to have one thing in the gym, it'd be bands.
Yeah.
I used to think it was a kettlebell, but I'm leaning towards bands more and more. So I said we should start talking about some of the products we use, and those are two of them. You got anything, Will, that you really are a big fan of?
I think that's another good. I think we've been on a bit of a roll today, so
yeah.
Obviously, Paddy was holding us back.
Well, I didn't want to say that.
I want to encourage him to come back with a vengeance. Yeah, no, but this is what we'll do. We'll get him in the can, and we'll keep on trucking along. Because I think like training, just forward momentum is important. So we'll develop some forward momentum.
Yeah, I just can't. That's a really good point. I mean, I Will just turned 40. What'd you say? 49.
9.
And I will be a year older in a month. I think I'll be 48. I think, yeah. So you got to find something that works for you. It doesn't need to kill you. It doesn't need to be too much. It doesn't always need to exhaust you. It just needs to be something. It needs to be frequent. And it doesn't need to be that complicated. Push-ups, inverted rows, lunges. Just do that 3 days a week.
Yeah. Be consistent.
Be consistent.
It'll change your life.
Show up. So you got anything else, Will?
Nope. I think that's...
Is that Poodcast number 12? Yeah. So I think we're looking
in the can.
Yeah, we're looking forward to catching up with Gus Gollings tomorrow. Is he going to be available, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll do that, and I'm really looking forward to that because he's a fantastic dude to talk to, and he's making progress, and that makes us happy. And we're not happy until you're not happy. So
yes. Well, to believe me, by the time we finish tomorrow, he won't be happy.
That's not true. We're gonna make him feel. We're gonna make him feel better because he's.
Yeah, you can.
He's beating himself. Yeah, good cop, bad cop. Because you're definitely the bad cop.
Yeah, I'm the worst.
He's beating himself up right now. We're gonna fix that. So, impersonaltraining.com. That was Poodcast number 12. We will see you tomorrow.
Yeah, months from now.
Yes.
Talk to you later.
Cheers.
Bye.